Welcome to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. The Pocono ARCA 200 from Pocono Raceway. And yes, that is a slight haze that is hovering over the racetrack right now. 68 degrees is the temperature. Overcast is the skies. And the cars are working their way around this 2.5 mile. Very tricky racetrack. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside Phil Parsons and Darrell Waltrip. Now, I say tricky racetrack, very unique, DW.
I think that's the right word for this place. And let me tell you why. It's got 3 very distinct turns. First turn down here, based on a turn that was at Trenton, New Jersey. It's got 14 degrees of banking. You go up that long back straightaway into the tunnel turn. That's got 6 degrees of banking. That's based on a turn from Indianapolis. Go to the third turn. It's got 8 degrees of banking, and that's a Milwaukee turn. So they took all their favorite racetracks and threw them into one, and they only had 3 tracks. If it had a 4th one, it might have been better.
And the weather's a little bit different today, Phil. How will that affect our racing?
It's a lot different, and all the guys in the garage are very concerned about the gearing. These cars are limited to 8,800 RPMs through the ignition boxes, and they can run any gear they want, unlike the Sprint Cup cars who have to run a certain gear. So all the guys think, because of the hot temperatures yesterday and the slower pace, that they're going to have too much gear, and when they're going to hit the rev limiter, and that means that the engine essentially will not produce any more horsepower once it hits that rev limiter, and it will be stagnant. So we could see a lot of guys with real high gears not turning that as many RPMs, really going down into the straightaway a lot better than the other guys do.
3,740 foot down this front straightaway.
Yeah.
Long time.
It should be very interesting as the field reaches turn number 1. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the front row, Brennan Poole and Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon has a pretty sizable lead coming into this race, just the 7th race of the season in the point standings.
Yeah, over that Frank Kimmel, that's starting 3rd here. Frank, a 3-time winner here at this racetrack.
Tim George Jr., Chad Hockenbrough making up row number 4.
Bobby Gerhardt has won Daytona 97 times, I think, in the ARCA Racing Series.
And how many times he's been in it.
And Bobby's from this area. He's from Pennsylvania, so he definitely wants to do well here at Pocono, but has never been able to win away from Daytona or Talladega.
In row 7, Matt Merrill will have to go to the back of the pack for getting to inspection line late.
Mariette Defoe start this race in the 15th position.
There's Tom Birdie. Drives for Venturini Motorsports.
Frank Kimmel, we talk about the veteran. He starts in the 19th spot.
There's Darrell Basham, longtime competitor here in the series, starts back in the 24th spot. How about James Hilton?
I raced with him in 1972 when I was a rookie, and he's still racing. Look at the man go.
The 1966 NASCAR Grand National Rookie of the Year.
I'm proud of him. I love it.
Vinny Chastain.
He will carry one of our onboard cameras in the 75 car. Mattioli, do you recognize that name? Well, grandson of the owners of the racetrack.
But not only do you recognize the name from this race and from obviously the Pocono Raceway, but he ran in the Truck Series race last night in Texas and has made it here for this race today.
Y'all were on the same flights together, I guess.
I think he had a little bit easier route. The Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel goes to Brennan Poole. So Poole wins the pole.
And I got him in the pool.
For more on our pole winner, let's go down to one of the 2 on pit road, Jim Trado.
Thanks, Rick. It's a very youthful front row as well. Just 20 years of age. Brennan Poole made 1 career ARCA start. It was this year at Salem Speedway. He started on the front row, and he won that race in the 25 for Billy Venturini. He's the crew chief and car owner. I asked him right before we went racing, I said, Billy, what impresses you most about this young man? He said, there's not just one thing. It's a long list. Very impressed with this young man. His only time on a speedway larger than a mile, 20 laps in a test at Michigan a few weeks ago. Let's go down pit road to check in with Wendy.
Thanks, Jim. Domination is the theme for young Ty Dillon. He has 3 wins of our 6 races in the ARCA Racing Series, but he's never been here to Pocono. I just spoke with crew chief Scott Nassett. He said the key was getting Ty comfortable with this race car and comfortable with this racetrack. So far, he looks pretty good. He's starting on the outside front row, trying to defend that series lead right now. Of course, he just graduated high school last week, guys.
One of the younger drivers in this field. We've got 18-year-olds. And the pace car will make the hard left turn, come on to pit road. That leaves the field back in the hands of Brennan Poole in that 25. The Venturini Motorsports entry. Green flag in the air. We're underway from Pocono. Ty Dillon has a great start on the outside, battling as they go into turn number 1.
Yeah, got a little drag race here going on down into turn 1. Let's see who prevails. That outside should be pretty good.
Boy, Brendan Poole gets a good run off the corner.
Boy, he does. He used that bottom lane to his advantage. The shortest way around.
Seen a little bit of moisture on our camera lenses. They talked about a little bit of precipitation just before the start of this race, but it looks like the track is clear.
Got to get it going, man. Get these cars going. Get that vortex steering working. I think we got something to work with here.
Tim George, the 31 car, tried to work underneath Grant Enfinger.
Chris Buescher going for second, trying to take it away from Ty Dillon. Dillon a little bit higher line.
Now they're up there on what we call the grip strip. They repaved an area of that turn about 3 or 4 years ago. A lot of grip in the middle of the turn there.
Chris Buescher able to hang in there pretty well with Ty Dillon. This is as good as it's going to be. These tires are as good as they're going to be right now.
Well, you see them back there. They always do that snaking thing down the front straightaway here. Go all over the track. Get a lot of draft down this long front straightaway. 3,740 feet.
And Phil, you talked earlier about the tires are going to be as good as they're going to be. The weather conditions probably the best that they've seen. So they're carrying more speed into turn number 1 than they have all weekend.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we saw it with the Sprint Cup qualifying, how much faster the speeds were than they were in practice.
They were about 2.5, 3 seconds faster from what they practiced. Go down that back straightaway, Rick. That thing is 3,055 feet down the back, and then the little short straightaway we're on right here, coming to turn 3, 1,780 feet. You'll hit about 175, 80 mile an hour, even down the short chute.
Such a difficult racetrack, though, because you've got different bankings and the different turns. You set up for one.
It's a compromised racetrack, but if you're going to be good, you want to be good on the flat end. Tunnel turn, turn 3. Turn 3 particularly, because that brings you down here to the start-finish line.
Kimmel goes low, trying to take third away from Chris Buescher. Buescher runs that little higher line through 3.
And there are times when you have a car here that's so good, it'll be good in all 3 corners, won't it, Darrell?
I take 1 out of about every 30 times you come here. But, you know, is Frank Kimmel not revitalized this year? I mean, that guy has come alive this year. Had some great runs.
Has been very close to getting back to victory lane. Has 73 wins in the ARCA Racing Series. That's second only to Iggy Katona. And he's closing in on that number, too.
Yeah, top 10s all 6 races so far.
Wendy Benarini.
And Frank Kimmel comes into Pocono, one of the 2 guys in this field that have won at this racetrack. He has 3 wins at Pocono, most recently in 2006, and he's been on a roll in 2011 with 6 top 10s in our 6 races. And this race car he has here at Pocono, chassis number 320, it's the same car that Frank ran here at Pocono last year. He's hoping to gain some points on our leader, Ty Dillon, our points leader, Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon's in front of him right now. Ty Dillon running in the 2nd spot. Chris Buescher holding on to 3rd. Kimmel is 4th. Still out front, it's Brennan Poole.
Saw a great illustration of the draft Darrell was talking about here. Frank Kimmel used that draft to pull to the inside of Chris Buescher when they got down to turn number 1. Wasn't able to make the pass, but the draft is critical here.
This is an 80-lap race. That's 200 miles around this 2.5-mile triangle.
There's Grant Enfinger right there with the 36 car. Great opportunity for him to run full time. He was always competitive in the limited number of races that he ran in the series, but a great opportunity with the Allgaier team to run full time.
Field is starting to spread out now as Poole has a 1.1 second lead over Ty Dillon. Then it's almost 2 seconds back to Chris Buescher. Kimmel is 2.5 seconds behind our leader, and Enfinger 2.7 seconds back.
Poole's been running some of the UARA races. I talked to his crew chief, Rock Harris. They've run 5 races with him this year, and he won 3 out of the 5. And guess what happened the other 2? He ran 2nd. This kid,
pretty good average.
Rock said this kid is the real deal. He's got talent. He's a good young man, and
got a pretty girl on the hood too.
Got somebody on the hood.
Lacey Green on the hood, and let's go down to Jim Trado.
Just a quick update. His crew chief, Billy Venturini, finally asked him, how's the car? And Brennan Poole, the race leader of the 25, said a little free on exit. This many laps in, Darrell, Phil, I mean, is it just the kid getting used to this place, or is it something to worry about this early?
You know what I love about guys like him? What they don't know, they don't know. And he doesn't really probably know what a car is supposed to feel like here. This is the biggest racetrack he's been on. He ran at Salem, won at half-mile track there, High Bank won, but this is a big racetrack for him, big change.
And he goes way into the high groove, going by the 75 of Benny Chastain. And remember, folks, there has been a little precipitation around this racetrack. That may also be a loose condition for him.
And see, that's something that a veteran driver may not have done. But again, he doesn't know. He'll take chances. He'll go places where he doesn't know he can't go.
He may not know that there's not a lot of grip up there in the third or fourth lane.
How's it feel? Well, it's a little loose when I got up high like that.
Brian Silas just in front of the 82 of Sean Corr. Sean Corr trying to reel him in as we still see Brennan Poole putting more cars a lap down, working his way through turn 3 and onto the front stretch. That battle for third still brewing. Chris Buescher just in front of Frank Kimmel. One of the longest straightaways in all of racing right here at the Pocono Raceway in our front stretch.
It's incredible when you come off turn 3 and you look down at the end of the straightaway turn 1. It seems like it would take forever to get there, but at speeds upwards of 185, 190 miles an hour, you get there fairly quick.
Yeah, but I'd say on a day like this, come off turn 3, you can't even see turn 1. It's pretty hazy looking down there, and it's a long way.
There is a haze in the air. And Brennan Poole continues to dig out in front. Grant Enfinger in the 36 trying to close the gap between he and Kimmel.
Frank Kimmel had the fastest lap that last time by about 0.3 of a second over the second fastest car, and that was Chris Buescher.
Yeah, Frank's closing right up on the back of Buescher here. Get a little draft down this front straightaway. But like you said in the opening, that rev limiter probably is slowing these guys down at the end of this front straightaway. They may not be able to utilize that good draft that we get here.
About to have a battle for the lead as we've seen Ty Dillon close the gap now between he and Brennan Poole.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on, buddy.
Sideways going through turn number 1. That allows Ty Dillon in the 41 to try to take that momentum and get by.
A little bit loose off the corner.
That's what he said. I was just going to say. He said she's a little loose off the corner. That looked real loose to me. You know, it might be getting wet because I see.
Take a look at the cameras out here.
I'd see a lot of dipping dots on there.
Dots on there? Is that what they were calling them earlier?
Yeah, on our camera lens.
So Ty Dillon has been able to get in front of Brennan Poole after Poole was sideways working his way through turn number 1.
That's allowed Chris Buescher, Frank Kimmel also to close up.
Yeah, this, you know, he said, he told Billy things a little loose off.
That was a nice catch. That car was pretty sideways.
And you could see all the moisture on our camera lens too. I think it's a little wet right in there.
Grant Enfinger's close the gap now between he and Frank Kimmel, and now we've got a battle for the lead once again. Here comes the 25 of Brennan Poole. He hasn't had enough. These two actually finished first and second at Salem earlier this year, except it was Poole who was going to victory lane, and Dillon finished second.
Man, he's hanging on to that thing because it is bad loose, but loose is fast.
Yeah, and he's not backing off. He's not backing off at all. He clears Ty before they get to the grip strip over there.
Yep. That grip strip we're talking about, folks, that's why they run the middle of that turn. It was repaved, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. Has a lot of grip up high because we used to run the bottom of that corner. That really created a new lane when they paved that.
Normally considered the shortest way around is the bottom of the racetrack, but as you mentioned, a little more grip. And now the battle for fourth. Kimmel trying to hold off Grant Enfinger. Wendy.
Just to add on Ty Dillon, you know, when he took the lead from the 25 of Brennan Poole, he did report to his crew chief, to his team, that there was rain on the racetrack, and he just said again, reported, I'm going to wreck in this rain. They just reminded him, don't overdrive it, just keep the leader in your sight, but definitely a problem for those guys running out front.
Yeah, Wendy, it's got to, I mean, that'll drive it. You just get loose like he did, and you know the track is wet, and now you're not sure just how hard to push it.
They're on the edge of control anyway, and then you add some moisture to the equation, and it could be disastrous.
Right now we're seeing Ty Dillon trying to chase down that 25 of Brennan Poole. Brennan Poole, after winning the pool yesterday, was able to get out front, lead laps. Ty Dillon challenged him, but he's back out front.